Hey guys, how is everybody doing? With the release of The Accountant 2 releasing in theaters this weekend, I have decided to go ahead and review the original 2015 The Accountant starring Ben Affleck. Now, this is a movie that I have never seen. This is a movie that I never really had interest to, and if I'm being honest, I probably would have never even tried to watch this movie if there wasn't a sequel coming out this weekend. And this is a movie I've always been curious to watch because I've always heard rumbles about it. I haven't heard big praises about the movie. I haven't heard some of the like the biggest positive things about it, if that makes any sense. I haven't really heard much about this movie, but this is a movie that I have been curious to check out, and it is a movie that I've always wanted to view, but I just never really had the interest to, or like really had the urge to, until the sequel came out. So, with that all out of the way, here are my thoughts on The Accountant. Starting out with my positives on the account, and my first positive of the movie is the cast. You have Ben Affleck in here, you got John Bernthal, you got John Lithgow, and you also have J.K. Simmons. Like, you got a lot of big name stars in this movie, and a lot of actors that I really enjoy. Ben Affleck, now, I will admit I'm not the biggest fan of Ben Affleck. I enjoy most of his work, I guess. Well, I shouldn't say most. I enjoy the majority of his work. I mostly like movies that he has directed and wrote. I love The Town. That is one of my favorite movies of all time. I really love that movie for some reason. And I also, it was it Argo? Yeah, Argo. I really enjoy that too. I don't watch it all the time, and I haven't watched it in years, but when I last watched it, I really enjoyed it. But Ben Affleck, for me, has always worked better as a writer and director than he has as an actor. I enjoy most of his work, but I just never really cared for his acting roles. I enjoyed him as Batman. A lot of people are divisive on his Batman. I like his Batman. I don't like his Bruce Wayne though. His Batman's badass though. But Ben Affleck, he's enjoyable in this movie. He does good for what he's given. I'll talk about that more with Christian Wolff, which is the main character in the movie. I'll go more into depth about that later. And John Bernthal, I've always loved that guy. Ever since I saw him as the Punisher, I've kind of grown to adore him because whenever he shows up, he's just an absolute standout. He's not in the movie much, but when he is in the movie, he is an absolute standout, and he's just a lot of fun to watch. And I'm really excited to see him in the sequel with him being brothers with Christian in that movie. I think his name is like Brax or something in this movie. It's like Brax and Wolf to see their chemistry, which I've heard is really good in the sequel. So I'm excited to see him come back because he wasn't in the movie much, like I said, but I am excited to see him come back because he wasn't in this movie much and he was a standout. And John Lithgow, again, he's not in the movie much and he's kind of Oh, excuse me, and he's kind of like the main villain, kind of, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if he's the main villain, but he is a villain-ish like character in the movie. And for what he's given, he's enjoyable. Again, he's not in the movie much, but whenever he is there, it's John Lithgow, and he's always good to watch. I love him as Trinity and Dexter. That's the main reason I love John Lithgow. But yeah, just seeing him in this is just awesome because I like him as an actor. He doesn't do much. He's not in the movie much, but when he does show up, he is enjoyable. And J.K. Simmons, who I think out of all of them kind of gets the most screen time aside from Ben Affleck, who's the main character, obviously. And I love J.K. Simmons. I know him best from Spider-Man. I've always known him as that role in those movies. So in those movies from as JJ. I almost forgot his name for a second. I really enjoy J.K. Simmons. He's really enjoyable in this movie, and he plays like a different role that I've never really seen him try to do. And that's why I like J.K. Simmons because he plays all these different kind of roles and roles that you don't really expect him to play. Roles like Omni-Man and Invincible, which is probably one of the best voice acting jobs I've seen in a long time. But yeah, I really enjoy this cast. The cast that we get in this movie makes this movie a lot more rewatchable and a lot more enjoyable because of the cast members that they do get in this movie and just the supporting cast for Ben Affleck and Christian Wolff. So yeah, I really enjoyed the cast. It made this movie just more rewatchable and it just made it for a fun watch. And you gotta kind of bear with me here with my next positive. My next positive is weird because something about this I kind of liked, and it was weird when I was watching it. This movie has this weird social commentary like thing towards ADHD. I do have ADHD because I do weird. It's hard to describe ADHD for me because I do have it, but this movie has this weird commentary towards it to where Christian Wolff, who's the main character of the movie, what he does throughout the movie, he kind of has this ADHD thing. As an accountant, he kind of like these small things. Like there's this whole scene where he's looking through boxes and he's trying to kind of get calculations for certain things and find out how much money this and that was spent. It's this whole ordeal, and then the main guy, the kind of like the boss of the whole thing, he ends up dying from a overdose, and then the John Lithgow orders them to clean out the entire room and to scrap the whole thing and to get rid of it because of his death. They don't want to continue it, and they're like erasing all of the marker off the windows that he drew on there, erasing all of this stuff or whatever, and he kind of like freaks out and he's like, I need to finish this," and he's whole hell bent on finishing it. And he also has this whole routine that he sticks to where he times like opening his garage perfectly or whenever he's in the garage, and he like does this weird routine at night where he gets like a stick and rolls it on his leg and takes his medicine at a certain time. Like he has a routine that he sticks to, and if it gets messed up, he kind of starts freaking out, which we kind of get in the beginning and kind of get that escalation that he does have this weird ADHD like thing or this weird condition or whatever. Like, in a way, I kind of like that. For someone who kind of has it, I don't overly have it, but I do have it. I mean, everybody has it, I guess. But, like, this weird anxiety ADHD thing, whatever you fuck you want to call it, that I have, I kind of gravitated towards it because I do have this weird feeling towards it's like sometimes when I don't make a certain video on time, I start to, like, panic because I feel like if I don't get it done, then I'm never going to get it done. And sometimes I don't get it done in time to where I just scrap the idea itself and it bothers me for a while. Like I can relate to what he goes through in a way. I don't know if I should compare myself to a fucking accountant or whatever, but I don't know. It just has this weird commentary on ADHD that I really uh, kind of stuck with, and it kind of just stuck with me. It's something that I noticed while watching the movie. And my final positive, and it's not like a huge positive or anything, but the action that we do get in this movie is pretty entertaining. Unfortunately, for a Ben Affleck movie, we don't get a lot of action, which is weird because a lot of the movies that I have seen Ben Affleck do that are action wise, especially like The Town and movies that he's directed, do have a lot of action in them, and especially when he played Batman. Like, he was badass in that. It's just like, where's that kind of action in this movie? We don't get much of it, unfortunately, and it's a little disappointing. But the action that we do get is entertaining enough. There's not a lot. There's maybe like three sequences that are action. Like there's this one part to where he goes and saves Dana, I believe her name is. Like when he finds out someone's trying to kill her and he goes and saves her, and then towards the very end, and there's stuff in the beginning, like especially like the ending of it was really entertaining. I think my favorite action sequence was with the old couple and he and this like big dude. I'm pretty sure he was from Thor. I'm pretty sure, yeah, this guy that's holding him at gunpoint. I'm pretty sure he was from Thor. Um, he's kind of like taking them hostage and he like shoots out the truck and he helps and he like rescues the old people, and he has this whole badass moment where he's strangling them with his belt and he goes, okay, practice to say yes when I say your boss, you say yes. Like that whole sequence was badass. I was like, yes, more of this, but we barely got it, unfortunately. But again, we don't get a lot of action in this movie, which is again unfortunate. But the action that we do get is entertaining enough to where I was entertained enough throughout it. Now, again, for a Ben Affleck movie, you would think there'd be a lot more, but unfortunately there wasn't. But what we do get, it was enjoyable. Now, moving on to my mixed aspects, and my first mixed aspect that I have is the main character of Christian Wolff. Now, I don't think that he's a bad character, by all means, and I did talk about his whole ADHD thing, but something about him is weird. Because when I think of a badass action character, I think of people like John McClane or John Wick. What's with the fucking John names? Or you think of people like Rambo or Arnold Schwarzenegger and like literally any action movie that he's in. That's what I think of when a badass action hero. That's what I think of. But Ben Affleck, for what he is given, I think he does good. I do kind of understand what they're trying to go for with him, but something about him is stale and just kind of bland, if that makes any sense, because he's so weird. And like when people try to talk to him, like when people give them, it's just like, oh, you can call me Laura, but like he's just like,
I made it myself.
No, not particularly, but you ever saw one?
oh, my name's Dana Cummings, but you can call me Dana. He goes, Miss Cummings. Like, he needs to say their last name for some reason. He freaks out about the smallest things, which, again, alludes back to the ADHD thing. But, like, just something about him is weird, and it's hard to try to connect with him. When you think of a main character, you try to find things to where you can connect yourself with them. You find ways to where you can relate to them or like them or weird ways or whatever. But with him, it's just like you can't find anything to connect with him. You can't find anything to like him about, really. You can't really relate to him in any way. Like, there's just something about the character that's just off. And it's just weird to see this kind of character in this. I guess I should expected something different. I should not have walked in expecting something that the same with like what action movies have kind of turned into, mostly just John Wick movies at this point. That's what I kind of expected with this movie. So I guess I should also like it because it's different, but at the same time, just what I'm used to for an action movie, it's just like meh. Kind of going back to when I was saying there's not a lot of action in this movie, and it's kind of and it doesn't have much of it, but what we do get is entertaining. I feel because like we don't have a lot of action in this movie because it's more trying to explain who Christian Wolff is. Now, at one point, I do like that. I feel like you should try to delve into Christian and who he truly is and what his life was like and why the way he is. Which, sure, that's what you would want to understand him, so you're not just be like, "What's wrong with this guy? Why is he the way he is?" or whatever. But, like, at the same time, I wanna watch an action movie. I wanna see badassery. I wanna see blood. I wanna see gunfire. I don't know if that says something weird about me, but that's just what I am. That's just the kind of action movies I like. But, like, I don't know. Something about that is like, I like it because, cool, let's explain the main character, because obviously I wanna know who the fuck he is. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't care. Push it to the side. I want action. But I don't know. Still trying to balance how I feel about that. Now moving on to my negatives, and I really only have one, and it's more of a nitpick, if anything. This movie's kind of slow, and that goes along with trying to explain of who Christian is and what and why the way he is. But it's just like just this movie, it just moves at a very slow pace, especially at the beginning, and it doesn't help that I was exhausted when I was watching this movie. I had a long day yesterday after finishing the day, and I went to go watch this movie, and I was exhausted. Excuse me, I was exhausted. I wanted sleep. I wanted to fucking lay down. And I finally did, but I probably shouldn't have laid down trying to watch movies. I was a little exhausted, but I still watched the movie, obviously. But I don't know. Just something about the movie just felt slow and just kind of had a lot of buildup that didn't have a payoff, if that makes any sense. But I don't know. To me, the movie just moved a bit slow for my liking, and I feel like it could have picked up the pace every now and then. But that's just me. That's just how I felt. But overall, the movie was entertaining, but just at moments, especially in the beginning, it just moves slow and it just tries to over explain things, and I feel like that's why this movie feels like it just moves so slow. But overall, guys, I enjoyed The Accountant. This is not a movie to where I think I'll ever rewatch it. I don't think I'll ever think about like, oh, let's watch The Accountant. And I probably wouldn't have any interest in a sequel, but I will be watching it. But I do think there's a lot of potential for a sequel, and I am excited to watch it after watching this movie because I want to see what they'll do. But overall, I enjoyed it. But this is never going to be a movie I probably ever rewatch, and I'm probably never going to be in the mood for it. The only time I'd probably rewatch this if maybe another an accountant movie was coming out and I decided to rewatch it before that one came out. But I don't know. That's just what I think. I haven't really heard a lot of people talk about this movie, so I don't know what the whole majority thinks of this movie. But for me, I enjoyed it, but I don't think I'll ever rewatch it. Thank you all so much for watching my review on The Accountant. Let me know what you thought about The Accountant down in the comments below, and we shall talk about it. Did you like this movie? Did you not like this movie? Let me know in the comments below, and once again, we'll talk about it. And if you like this video, like it. If you love to subscribe, hit the bell notification so you will get notified for all of my latest videos. And of course, until my next video, I'll see you all next time.